Stage 1. Private Initial Situation Report. You sweep through incoming feeds, rolling blackouts, red markers at power nodes, each one a risk of a cascading collapse. Hospital backups are at half capacity. The status feed stutters. Every second lost is a margin that shrinks. Priority comms have degraded under load. Main artery status is uncertain until you manually verify the traffic feeds. The ledger controls supply distribution with coded allocations. Margin notes hint at emergency protocols when the system fails. Evacuation arteries are gridlocked. Rerouting becomes urgent as every blocked line narrows options. New reports arrive. 3 additional node failures. The room tightens. Talk must become action. Your finger hesitates over the toggle. The red overlay crystallizes the weight of this single motion. You run rapid mental simulations, triage outcomes, legal trade-offs, balancing ethics against collapsing authority. The initial situation report is filed. Blank timestamps wait. Accountability is the shadow to every choice you make. Stage 2. Corporal. Priorities and constraints. With the priority channel at 40%, you fall back to pen and paper. Triage and rationing become physical, not just digital. 5 tiers of priority sit on the page. Red overrides show where asset conservation fights the instinct to save everyone first. Private contractors hold key transport capacity, but tapping them requires legal waivers and time that you don't have. You weigh who goes first. The photo is a quiet reminder. Decisions here ripple into private lives. A waiver could widen your authority immediately. The blank signature line is a mirror to your doubt. Consensus starts to form around a shutdown threshold, but the generator's limited runtime pressures every choice. Ration codes funnel supplies into priority zones. You allocate, resisting the impulse to explain the painful tiers out loud. A 5-minute countdown starts. The toggle waits like a held breath. You reach the decision threshold. Flipping the switch will cascade orders and public messages citywide within minutes. 3 more blackout zones appear. Evacuation routes must move up the priority list, even if that means reallocating scarce transport. 60% of supplies are staged for evacuation centers, if the devices that track them hold power long enough. Conflicting data on private transport capacity forces you to solicit a rapid consensus before the comms window snaps shut. Staggered failures tighten constraints. The shutdown threshold creeps nearer with each added node. Stage 3. Sergeant, Counsel, and Consensus. Multiple field reports confirm hospital generators slipping. You must model triage outcomes fast, within the protocol's constraints. The waiver allows commandeering private logistics. Accepting it means accepting responsibility for the consequences. You seek a nominal consensus. A single-voiced dissent now could cost critical minutes. 3 shutdown scenarios play out in your head. Each adjusts evacuation priorities and ration lines for thousands. Comms fall to 30%. Consensus depends as much on ink and memory as on the network now. Advisors press for allocations that will inevitably deprioritize some zones. You mark the choices and shoulder the silence that follows. The after-action log waits. With 1 hour of power left, the protocol must be decided, and fast. 5 priority levels are on paper. Red ink overrides are where cold logistics overrule instinct. You measure civic duty against human cost. Transport shortfalls turn abstract harm into names and faces. 3 minutes remain. The room's air feels like a held breath waiting for a command. The map forecasts collapse in additional nodes if the shutdown is postponed. Delays invite more loss. You and a senior advisor align on an expanded authority protocol. Consensus is the bridge between action and legal cover. Agreement is reached. Signatures will formalize the accountability that follows. The protocol is set. Routing directives and comms ready to ripple through the city at your command. With consensus secured, you stand at the threshold. One action will update public comms and ration codes citywide. Stage 4. The decision threshold. You execute the shutdown. Digital ration codes and evacuation routes flip to emergency modes for over 10,000 civilians. Confirmation locks the choice. Timestamps capture the instant allocations move into emergency tiers. Initial feedback shows transport running at 60% and hospitals being rerouted supplies under the new protocol. You update directives. Some neighborhoods are deprioritized to conserve assets for critical infrastructure. The waiver bears multiple signatures. Authority is expanded, and accountability is now formalized in ink. You file the initial after-action note, documenting how the shutdown shifted supply flows across key infrastructure nodes. Field reports confirm additional staggered failures. You reassign ration codes to cover 5,000 more residents. The supply map now shows 7 failed nodes. Without increased transport capacity, hospitals risk critical shortages. Consensus holds, but documents note that 20% of the population will face minimal supplies for the next 48 hours. You revisit the photo. Your decisions may route evacuation away from residential blocks to protect critical assets. Ration displays show Tier 3 allocations for non-critical zones. Red overrides warn of a 30% transport shortfall. You secure 40% of contractor capacity for hospitals, but the priority channel slips to 20%. Manual ledgers become essential. You craft the public message to maintain order, delicate wording that omits the worst shortages to prevent panic. The candle burns low. The ration card waits. Another stamp will decide who eats tonight. Directives lock in. You've routed thousands through emergency plans. Legal challenges may follow, but for now, logistics must run. Stage 5. Aftermath and accountability. You record the aftermath, how assets were conserved, and how 15% of the city lost power in the first critical hour. The timestamp marks the moment your order took effect. The faint currency symbol suggests economic ripple effects to come. You wrestle with civic responsibility and systemic trade-offs, ration queues grow, and the city will feel these choices tomorrow. A queue forms, over 500 waiting for ration updates. Grid instability keeps critical zones in peril. Public messaging went out, but with a 30-minute delay to non-priority channels, some will learn later than others. Evacuation is 70% complete, but 3 hospitals remain on backup power for the next day. Trade-offs made in real time. Consensus endures, but waivers expand authority, and the after-action review will interrogate those choices. Signatures authorize the shutdown. Emergency codes limit the waiver to 48 hours before renewal is required. You reallocate 15% of hospital supplies to critical zones. The ledger now shows a looming 10% transport shortfall for tomorrow. The contractor confirms 50% evacuation capacity. With the channel nearly gone, manual ledgers become the truth we trust. Blackout pockets now affect a quarter of districts. Restoration timelines stretch as resource ledgers constrain response. You think of home. The decisions you made will redraw the lines of who waits and who moves first. Maybe even your family. The log is complete. The moral questions remain unsettled, and you prepare for the next protocol choice in a system strained to its limits.